Hey there, silly story here, bringing you another silly tale for everyone to enjoy. Title, Rock Bottom to Rock Solid, the comeback of Ricky Thunder. They used to call me Ricky Thunder, the lead singer of Electric Firestorm. We had one single, Lightning in My Heart, that hit the charts for about 2 weeks. For a moment, we were the it band. And then, well, the storm fizzled out. Next thing I knew, it was years later, the royalties were long gone, and I was facing eviction. In a moment of desperation, I saw an ad for music instructor needed at the local community center. Not exactly Madison Square Garden, but I figured, hey, maybe teaching these kids a thing or two about rock could be my ticket back to some cash flow period. Turns out, the students were mostly teens and preteen who'd never heard of me, and the ones who had only knew me as the guy who sang that cheesy '80s song their mom thought was cool. So there I was, first day at the community center, armed with my guitar and a catalog of '80s rock wisdom. I started strumming some classic riffs to get them pumped up. One kid raised his hand and asked, "Can you play something from Frozen?" I just stared at him horrified. "The Disney thing?" I asked. "With the snowman?" The kid nodded, so enthusiastic you'd think he was asking for Bohemian Rhapsody. "Kid, I don't know about snowman, but I can teach you a killer guitar solo," I said, hoping to change the subject. I started into a rendition of Smoke on the Water, but they looked underwhelmed. "Can you sing Let It Go at least?" Another one asked, clearly unimpressed. "Listen, rock is about feeling the power, not letting it go." I tried to explain, but they just gave me blank looks. Apparently, times had changed. The second week, I decided to teach them about stage presence. After all, that's what rock is about. Confidence, attitude, spectacle. I told them, if you're really into the music, you should smash your instrument at the end. Like, show the audience you mean it. Well, that advice turned into a nightmare real quick. This little kid named Joey, who had no business holding a guitar that big, took my lesson way too seriously. As soon as he finished his first song, he raised the guitar like he was about to smash it into the ground. "No, no," I shouted, practically diving across the room to save it. The guitar clattered to the floor with a thud, strings snapping, and Joey just stared at me, confused. "You weren't supposed to actually smash it," I stammered. "But you said, rock stars always break their instruments," he asked, looking up at me with these big, sad eyes. Yeah, well, maybe let's hold off on that until you're on your first world tour." "Kid," I muttered, making a mental note to skip rock star theatrics in my future lessons. Despite the mishaps, something strange happened. As the weeks went on, I actually started liking the kids. They were clueless about rock, sure, but they had heart, and they were all trying to find their voices in this world, just like I once did. I taught them basic chords, worked with them on original songs, and even pulled out a couple of my own dusty tunes. One of the girls, Tessa, had a knack for lyrics. She wrote a song about wanting to be seen as more than a background character. And, man, I actually felt a lump in my throat. I hadn't written anything that honest in years. The kids were so into it that we decided to put on a little concert. Nothing big, just the community center's gym. But they'd all worked hard, and I felt a little of that old thrill, the nerves, the excitement. The night of the concert, the gym was packed with parents, neighbors, even a few teachers. My band took the stage, their instruments all tuned up and ready. I gave them a thumbs up, practically beaming with pride. Then it was time for my solo. I'd promised the kids I'd play Lightning in My Heart, and as the first chorus rang out, I felt like I was on top of the world again. I had one of the teens on backup guitar, and the kids were actually harmonizing behind me. But right at the climax of the song, my big moment, the microphone shorted out. Just died. I tapped it, tried to smack it back to life. Nothing. There I was, mid-scream, holding a dead mic, with the whole crowd staring at me. So I did what any rock star would do. I screamed my lyrics without the mic, as loud as I could. It sounded like a cross between a wolf howl and a kazoo. But hey, rock is about passion, right? The crowd gave me a few polite claps. Some of the parents in the front rows looked genuinely uncomfortable, like they weren't sure if they'd come to a concert or an amateur talent show gone horribly wrong. One kid shouted, "Play Frozen," and I pretended not to hear him. After the concert, I felt fulfilled in a way I hadn't in years. The kids actually seemed proud, and they had every right to be. They'd worked their butts off, and despite my disastrous solo, the audience had loved them. Tessa came up afterward and gave me a hug, saying, "Thanks for believing in us, Mr. Thunder." "Just call me Ricky," I said, my voice breaking a bit. I guess being part of something real, a community, a family, was better than any chart-topping hit. And sure, maybe I wasn't Ricky Thunder, rock out of the 80s, anymore. But now I was Ricky, the washed-up guy who helped some kids find their voice. And honestly, that felt pretty rock and roll to me. Story ends. Thanks for listening. Make sure to visit our YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this, show some love by hitting like, sharing it with someone you know, and subscribing so you can be part of this channel's journey. See you again for another silly story.